here we are. Okay. Hare Krishna, devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. And how nice to be with you. Only problem is, I'm not there. I can see myself on Skype. I can see myself on Skype, but I cannot see myself on, here I am, Mayapur TV. I don't know what to do. And similarly, YouTube, I can see the deities. They look very nice. Oh, I can see myself. What do I do? Oh, look at that. What is this? Oh, it's Facebook. I can see myself on Facebook. How amazing. All right. And YouTube, well, I'm not on YouTube yet, but oh, I'm on Mayapur TV. Okay, so that's pretty good. So devotees, Hare Krishna, Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presta Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharne Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Shatarane Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivas Adi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. What now? Sure. All right. Well, hello there on Facebook. How nice to see you all. Hello there on Mayapur TV. Very nice to see all of you. And YouTube, well, good luck. I don't see you at all on YouTube. What to do? Yeah, YouTube. You know, can you do something about this on YouTube? Anyway, forget it. So, Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presta Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharne Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Shatarane. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So, devotees, I was given the subject of how to use the lockdown to perfect our spiritual lives. It's an interesting idea, isn't it? Oh, look, I've appeared on YouTube somehow or other. Okay, well, that's good. So, yes, how to use the lockdown to perfect our spiritual life. That's an interesting subject. This lockdown, of course, is something completely, I would say, completely unexpected. Who could have predicted, even if you just go back 6 months or even 3 months, who would have thought? But I've been around for 68 years plus, and it's the most drastic thing I've ever seen. I was not there for the Second World War, of course. I imagine that was more drastic. But this is the next most drastic thing, that so many people are effectively not really, so many are actually unemployed, and so many are effectively unemployed, And how they're going to maintain themselves, who knows? And how the whole Western economy is going to recover, who knows? Please don't ask me, because it's beyond me. But it's interesting. I mean, just before I get into the idea of what we can do about it ourselves as devotees, which of course is the main idea, and it's a very practical thing, and there are definitely many things that we can do. But before getting into that, let me just say, it's a very important consideration, particularly for devotees, that Srila Prabhupada in his books, in his classes, and just in whatever ways he expressed himself, he oftentimes made the point that this Western materialistic civilization, it cannot really last. It sooner or later it will collapse, because it's built on such flimsy foundations, and there's just so much weakness throughout all the different systems and subsystems which are making it work. It's really amazing. Just one very simple example is that in Vedic civilization, and in just all over the world actually, that there was no paper money. There was no paper money. There was some people used gold, but otherwise we read actually in Krishna's time that the people would just trade. Nanda Maharaj and his associates, the Brijbasis in Vrindavan, they were producing milk products. They were producing milk and butter and ghee and yogurt and paneer and different sweets, milk sweets, and all sorts of different things. And they were producing so much that they couldn't, there was no question of using it themselves by any stretch of the imagination. Nanda Maharaj, for example, just as an example, Nanda Maharaj had 900,000 cows of his own. You know, each cow, if they're good cows, if they're healthy, and if they're well fed with good grass and just really cared for in appropriate ways, any cow can produce not less than 20 liters of milk a day more, maybe 40 liters of milk a day, just with milking twice, morning and evening. So at least 20, at least 30 liters. And a typical family of, say, 4 people, husband, wife, 2 children, even 5, even 6, even 10. How are you going to use up 20 or 30 liters? Sure, that would not be easy every day. So there was really excess. I mean, what to speak of having 900,000 cows. Prabhupada talked about some land, maybe an acre or something, whatever, and 1 cow. But if you've got 2, if you've got 3, you're going to produce so many milk products that it's just going to be, just way, way, way beyond the family's consumption. So they would trade. There were other Vaishyas in the area, and they would produce vegetables. There are other Vaishyas in the area. They would produce grains, rice, and wheat, and different dals like this. And in this way, they would get together on a regular basis, and they would trade. And not just foodstuffs, also for cloth and footwear and household items, different cleaning things and whatever. You know what I mean? All the necessities, all the things that we all now buy in the supermarket. They were all traded on a regular basis. There's a nice description there in the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam of one lady coming to the village, to the Vrindavan village, and bringing with her a lot of fruit. Her business, the thing that she and her family produced was fruits of different sorts. And she came and sort of just put herself down in the middle of the village and just started calling out, who would like some fruit? Nice mangoes and nice different fruits. And Krishna heard this, and he had seen his mother before take different things. In this case, he had seen her take grains, because, they would trade these things, and sometimes they'd get too much. And like grains, they last. So she would go out and swap grains, trade grains for whatever it may be. So anyway, in this case, our little Krishna, small boy, having seen his mother do that, he sort of cupped his two hands and just pulled out whatever grains he could carry in his two hands, because he'd seen Mother Yashoda do something very similar. And then off he went outside to go to the lady to trade those grains for some fruit. Of course, the Bhagavatam describes that as he was on his way out, as he was walking out, because he's just a small child, and, in certain terms, not particularly competent, so grains were falling out between his fingers and so on. And he got out there, and he offered to the lady. There was hardly any grains left at all. But the lady, seeing this beautiful, beautiful little child, and understanding his idea, what his mood was, so she just became overcome by the beauty and just the sort of the affectionate mood of Lord Krishna. And she just filled up his two hands with practically whatever was left in her fruit basket. And actually, she emptied the basket. She gave it all to Krishna. Krishna went back inside, and the lady then looked down, and she saw that her basket, sort of like, what would you say, a wicker, a sort of cane basket, you know what I mean? Open sides. It had filled up with jewels and gold. Amazing. But just to add a little extra little point on top of that, she then took the basket full of jewels back home to another village nearby. And she was aware the basket was full of jewels. But when she got back and she put the basket down and she looked at all the jewels there, we're talking about thousands and thousands and tens, maybe, and probably hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of jewels. So, yeah, she looked down, she looked at what she had collected or what Krishna had given. But her thought was that, oh, I left that little child behind. I mean, not that she was going to take him, but I left that little child. And now I've come away to this other place. And sure, I've got a bag full of jewels, but having lost the association of that little child, I feel like I am the loser. Not like I got, however many thousands of dollars worth of jewels. And, what a wonderful day for me. Big business day. No, I lost out because I lost the association of that beautiful child. So she went back the next day. Okay, anyway, but my point was about trading. And it's really an important point. It's so extremely important. Because generally speaking, as far as trading is concerned, that if I have, say, let us just say a kilo of potatoes. I'm a potato producer. And you have a kilo of tomatoes. We can just swap. 1 kilo for 1 kilo. There you go. But now with this paper money business, now because, in regard to the potatoes and tomatoes, that now 1 kilo of potatoes, you get 1 kilo of tomatoes. In 1 year's time, it's the same. In 5 years' time, it's the same. In 100 years' time, it's the same. I have 1 kilo of potatoes, and I swap with you for 1 kilo of tomatoes. But now, what is the situation? I think you are well enough aware that because there's this whole system of, of paper money, which actually has literally no value. I mean, beyond the value of the paper itself, which is really small because you can't eat paper. You could use it to clean things up at home, I suppose. Clean the sink with the paper note. But in and of itself, it has no intrinsic value. A potato has intrinsic value. A liter of milk has intrinsic value. In and of itself, it's usable and highly beneficial. But that paper money, it's not usable except, as I said, to just to wipe the sink or something along those lines. And otherwise, it has no intrinsic value. And there is this element of greed. So therefore, the people working are trying to get more money from the boss, and they're getting step by step. And the boss now his products, whatever his employees are making, he has to increase the price because now he's paying the workers more. The rent just went up, the cost of electricity went up, etc. So the cost of the products he's producing has gone up, and he has to ask more, and it's just this endless cycle of increasing all round. Yeah. And so therefore, your 1 potato or 1 kilo of potatoes from 100 years ago. Well, I know Srila Prabhupada said in India, and it's a reasonable example. I mean, their money has lost value more quickly than most money, but it's not too bad. It's not impossible. When I first went to India, $1, for $1 you'd get 8 rupees. 8 rupees. Now, for $1 you get, 60 or something, 60 odd. So anyway, but the 1 kilo of potatoes, Prabhupada says, you can read in Leelamrita, that when he was a child, his father, his parents, would be able to buy enough foodstuffs for 1 week with, I think, if I remember correctly, 1 or maybe it was 10 paisa. I think it was 1 paisa. Now, you cannot even get 1 paisa. It's become obsolete because it's just of too little value. It's unusable, more or less. So, and therefore your kilo of potatoes, well, you tell me. I haven't bought potatoes in Krishna knows how many years. Okay. So my point here, I'm just coming to how to use the lockdown. My point is, what we are experiencing right now in the lockdown is just the natural result of the artificial type of civilization we're living in, and which we ourselves, let us face it, have embraced. We have embraced it. Yeah. So anyway, so here we are. That was just, some preliminary ideas. We should think more deeply about this whole phenomenon and consider what we could do about the larger scale problem for the future. I mean, that's a big subject. But anyway, here we are. I'm sitting in the temple, in my rooms, in Radharadhanath Temple in Chatsworth. Here I am. And I can tell you that except for the morning program, I have not been more than 10 meters away from my room for weeks. And most days, I am just in my room because I have a lot to do, a lot of communicating to do, just like what we're doing right now. So, yeah, what a situation. And I assume that so many of you are in plus or minus a similar situation yourselves. Yes, so here we are. And now, what to do about it? What to do about it? Well, okay, there are things we can do about it. How to use this lockdown. Yeah. To perfect our spiritual lives. I'm sure some of you have thought how to get together some business project so that while you're in lockdown, you can either get money in now somehow or get ready, prepare something, some program for getting money when the lockdown is finished. But here, for devotees, the lockdown, in certain regards, a number of different regards, is a blessing in disguise. Now, of course, it's really super heavily disguised in the disguise of a disaster, despite what Mr. Trump says, and even apparently in South Africa, not so many people are suffering from this disease, which is good. You have to congratulate the government for that. to whatever degree the information is accurate. But here we are. And, well, you know what I've done? I have started, of course we have our morning program here, Radha Radhanath Temple. We have our morning program. And there are not many devotees living in the temple. And many of them are busy during the morning program worshipping the deities, cooking for the deities, for the devotees, and various other things like that. So there's a small group of us in the morning program. But personally, it is my practice, and it has been since, I don't know when, since the beginning of my life in Krishna consciousness, I use the morning program for chanting japa. So that's what I've been doing. But I do that anyway. I just always do that. But what I've done is basically like what we're doing here. I started back when it all began, broadcasting on Facebook Live and on Instagram, and we're going to broaden the scope of it. But this is what we're doing now. We're broadcasting japa. There I am chanting on Facebook Live and Instagram Live, and devotees are joining in. I imagine some of you may well be joining in, but I get, like what, yesterday, it's a little hard to understand exactly how many people are participating, but in terms of devices, they show, like I can see here on Mayapur TV, there are 11 devices. Behind each device, looking at each device, maybe there's one person. I'm sure in some places there's two, and I wouldn't be surprised if some places there's 3 or 4 or even more perhaps. But I can say that altogether, at one time, the most devices that were online with us, combined Instagram and Facebook, at the maximum point in time, the number of devices that were online with us was 320. I mean, compared to some of the programs that are going on, it's not so much. It's not much. But compared to our morning program in the Radha Radhanath Temple before the lockdown, when I was also there every morning, we would get, we're talking about a maximum Mangalarti, greeting of the deities, maybe 20 or 30 or less. But during the japa time, sometimes I'd be the only one. But if not the only one, that was not so common. But usually 3, 4, 5, 6. This is kind of normal. But now we're getting 320. And actually we're getting a lot more, because this is just at the highest point. Yeah. Instagram shows you how many people were there. And, well, I suppose Facebook does. It has what it calls views. But in order for someone to be there long enough for it to count as a view, they have to be there for, would you believe, 3 seconds. Shoo. So, some hundreds of devotees stay more, and a good few hundred stay for the whole thing. But on Facebook Live specifically, when I've done a proper japa program, sometimes you get interrupted, and so, we have to close it down or something like that for a while. But the number of views, the most I've had for the japa has been, about 8,500, I think. And the least I've had for a proper japa session, views, means at least a few seconds for a person, per person. The least I've had, well, I don't think it's less than 2,000. So in other words, there's a lot more people chanting japa with me than usual, and that's just fantastic. Then I do the same program again in the afternoon from 4:30 till 6, just japa. Extra. How long does it take you to chant 16 rounds? Not usually 3 hours, but we're chanting for more than 3 hours. It's like 3 1/4 actually. And it's not quite as many as in the morning, but it's probably up to 250 or 260, something like that. And then we have a class. Currently, we're just about to finish Nectar of Instruction. We've been doing a seminar for, I actually forget how long, but it's probably a good 3 weeks, going in depth into Nectar of Instruction. So, this is really good. And a lot of devotees, many devotees from many different countries who are participating very regularly, have told me that, this is so different from what they would do when they got home at night after work, usually pre-lockdown. Normally they had another program, you know what I mean. So a number, I don't know how many, but really a lot, have told me that this has actually been quite revolutionary for their Krishna consciousness. Yeah. So that's one thing. That's one thing if you want to know what we can do for our lockdown. What we can do for our lockdown, for our spiritual lives during the lockdown to improve or perfect even our spiritual lives. Here's another thing. And it's kind of obvious, but it's very likely that you've now got a lot more time on your hands than you did previously. And, if you're, depending on your degree of spiritual strength and determination and whatnot, previously, you might well have just used that for watching television and other such, let's face it, don't mind me saying, other such, generally, maybe not always, but in the great majority of occasions, useless activity. Or even, let me say, not just useless, but detrimental activity. Detrimental is worse than useless. Useless is kind of zero. It's worth nothing. But detrimental means it drags you down. So how about Well, how about participating in my program this afternoon? Come online at 4:30, chant with me then 6 o'clock till 6:45 or just shortly before 7, Nectar of Instruction. Today we're taking questions from chapter 10. But you've got time on your hands. What about you taking up a serious program of studying Srila Prabhupada's books? Yeah. You know, we have Bhakti Shastri, we have Bhakti Vaibhava, and there are other courses in Krishna consciousness. It may or may not be possible for you to get involved in such a course now, because it may not be being offered right now. But I remember many years ago when there was no such thing. Bhakti Shastri didn't exist. And what to speak of Bhakti Vaibhava, nobody even thought about it in their dreams. So what did we do? Well, I'll tell you what I did. I just studied Srila Prabhupada's books myself. Yeah. And for example, I went through Bhagavad Gita and I divided each chapter into sections, depending on what topic is being described. And, you know, the conversation goes from Krishna saying things to Arjuna asking a question, for example. And then Krishna starts responding to the question. So Krishna explaining that's a section. If he changes subject in the middle of a section, then it's 2 sections. And when Arjuna asks a question, it's another section. And then Krishna starts answering this other question, it's another section. And you can divide up the verses and purports in terms of their subject matters, and write down, or now of course you'd use a computer. I want to show you something. Just give me a second or two. Right. Now, you see this, right? You can see this. Where are we? We're over here. This is a ring binder. It's a ring binder full of papers. I have 4 of these. I have 4 of these sitting on the desk here right now. And 3 are small. This is a small one. And there's one which is twice the size. They're full of handwritten notes, devotees. Handwritten notes of different subject matters which I encountered when, for example, reading Bhagavad Gita, but also the first time I read Srimad Bhagavatam. First time. I took notes and notes and notes. And what are they doing on my table now, on my desk? Well, I use them because they're divided up according to topics. One section on chanting, one section on association, one section on preaching. You get the idea. And so each subject matter is separated from the others. So when you need or want some information on any particular subject, it's at your fingertips. Many quotes. How useful is that if you have to give classes? Believe me. Wow, it's so useful. And I've still got them. I started in 1976 1976. And I went on for a couple of years till I'd finished the Bhagavatam the first time, and Chaitanya Charitamrita the first time, and Bhagavad Gita is there. And I use them, and at the moment they're on my desk because I am entering them into my computer. That's a good idea. Yeah, because, you know, these pages, you probably can't see, but they're getting eaten. They're getting eaten by the little creepy crawlies in the cupboard. So why don't you try to seriously study Srila Prabhupada's books? They are like gold mines. Now, you've heard many classes, I know, and you've read some books, maybe, I'm sure some of you have read even the whole Bhagavatam. I'm sure many of you have read some cantos and, you know, like that. But, you know, they are like gold mines. And if you really apply yourself, and read and reread, and then reread, and then reread, every time you'll find there's new things. And you'll wonder, where did that come from? I just read it, you know, a couple of years ago, whatever it is. If it's a book like the Bhagavatam, big book. I read this a while ago. I didn't notice this point. Yeah, but it's there. And now when you're rereading, or even third time or fourth time, then you discover some things. It's amazing, actually. And it's really wonderful. So why don't you do that? Do your own study program. If nothing else, just read Srimad Bhagavatam every day and take notes when you come across some interesting little point. Like I would, from every page, generally, I would be able to get 3 or 4 points. I got lots of points here. So this is how you can really make very good steps forward to perfect your life during the lockdown, to perfect your spiritual life. Yes. And yeah, so I mentioned you can take part in the online programs. Now I've mentioned you can read the books. And of course, well, it's part of the online programs too, to some degree, but you can just chant more. You can just chant more. Chanting, when you get a taste for chanting, chanting is just simply like nectar. It's amazing. It's truly amazing. Of course, you got to get a taste. One has to get a taste. If one doesn't get a taste, it can be a battle, I know. At least when I first joined, I battled, to be quite frank with all of you. It took me a while to kind of get a breakthrough and really get absorbed in hearing the chanting. But I remember one day when it actually, the specific day it happened, it was like what they call a wow movement. Like, wow, this is really nice. I'm feeling blissful. My mind is feeling peaceful and clear. I'm not struggling to somehow get it done. So for our progress in Krishna consciousness, to really make the most of Krishna consciousness, we need to get some sort of breakthrough in our chanting of japa. You know, I don't doubt that many of you have already reach such a point of breaking through and getting a taste, well, if you have, well done. You have probably done for yourself, given yourself the biggest favor you could. Really, it's amazing. The benefit, the value of chanting the holy names. So now on the lockdown, yes, of course. Why not? Why not? Take some extra time and chant some extra rounds. Come online with me this afternoon on my Facebook, Bhakti Chaitanya with a CH, Swami. Come online and chant with me. Come online tomorrow morning at about 5:30, or actually we start about 5:20. Just after Mangalarti is finished and I've chanted Gayatri, normally at least, we start chanting japa. So do it. And during the day, some very nice devotee, very new, very sincere and genuine, asked me a question 3-4 days ago, or 5 days, something, that can you chant more than 16 rounds? Are you allowed to chant more than 16 rounds? Because some things, there are restrictions. There are restrictions on what we can eat, and so on and so forth. There are different restrictions in our lives. Even in terms of eating, what to speak of, we don't eat meat, obviously, and related things. But you got to be careful not to eat too much. If you get into eating too much, then it has a number of negative effects. First, of course, you'll put on weight, and that's generally, for the great majority, it's not good to put on weight. And then, you'll be more prone to become sleepy and more lethargic if you overeat. So therefore, we should keep our eye on that, our eating, the quantities. We should do it for our own good. So with chanting, this one devotee asked, are we allowed to chant more than 16 rounds? And you know what the answer would be, obviously. Yeah, of course we're allowed to chant more than 16 rounds. But you know what the mind is like? The mind has a tendency. Even Prabhupada demonstrated at one time for the devotees. Prabhupada was chanting rounds, and some devotees were there. And he chanted and chanted for a while, and then suddenly Prabhupada just put down his beads on a table like it with a bit of a bang and said, 16 rounds done. Now I can do anything I like. So he was just, imitating some lower level devotee who would think, and if we're the type of devotee who thinks when we finish 16 rounds, then we breathe a sigh of relief and we put our beads down and we make sure we don't pick them up again for the rest of the day. Because, you feel it's done, it's finished, I don't need to do more. Well, in a certain sense, you may not need to do more, but if you've done your 16 rounds and you've tried to do them nicely, but 16 rounds is a minimum number of japa. There is no maximum. There is no maximum. And it's very nice, actually, if you can chant more than 16 rounds and still feel encouraged. Yes, I want to continue chanting rather than it's done. That sort of phenomenon, which definitely happens, absolutely definitely happens, at least in some cases. So we are doing extra. We're chanting for 3¼ hours. Devotees are doing more than 16 rounds. And feeling benefit, feeling great benefit from it. So you can do that. Either you join us on these internet programs, or you just chant at home. But one way or the other, the lockdown is an ideal opportunity for increasing one's quantity and quality of chanting. So please do it. And, you know, there's a not so famous, but I really like it, morning walk of Srila Prabhupada's, when one devotee asks him that how will we know, how can we know if our chanting is of good quality? How can we know if our chanting is of good quality? So Prabhupada laughs and says, you'll know if your chanting is of good quality when your chanting becomes of good quality. In other words, Prabhupada was not going to answer. Prabhupada was not going to answer. He thought it was just sort of, you know, sort of like a foolish question, I guess you could say. Neophyte question. But then then the devotee asked again, actually. And Prabhupada said, you will know if your chanting is of good quality when you finish 16 rounds and you think to yourself, why just 16? Why not 16,000? Then you know your chanting is of good quality. Yeah. So these are some thoughts. These are some things you can do. Even I know some, not many, but a few devotees who are into cooking, because cooking is a very important Vaishnav art. And Radharani is the queen of the kitchen for devotees. So some devotees, they're, you know, researching different recipes and so on, and really trying to develop their cooking to be used in the service of the Lord. So, yeah, if you think about it, you'll see there's a number of things you can do which will really help you. I've given you some here. Let me tell you one thing that has helped me. One thing that has helped me is that my health, seeing I've been here now for, you know, I'd have to look back and see, but it was sometime in February I landed up here, came back from Russia. So, yeah, I've become much more regulated. And, you know, I'm getting up every day in time for Mangala Arati, basically without fail. And just my health feels much better. Yeah, really. Anyway, I won't go into my health situation. There are a couple of things. But I really feel so much better now, physically. Because normally, as I think many of you know, I travel. And I never really noticed how bad it has been for my health. Frankly, it has been bad for my health. Not bad to the point where, you know, I was just getting knocked out and knocked down, although it did happen from time to time. But I just feel a lot stronger, clearer, and, yeah, physically stabilized, you could say, than flying around, driving around so much. Some days driving hundreds of kilometers, hundreds and hundreds. Sometimes flying for 1.5 to 2 days. I never really noticed it, but now that things are better, I mean more stable, I'm really noticing the difference. It is quite amazing and wonderful. Krishna's mercy to give me some realization. Plus I'm doing more reading. Yeah, I've studied Nectar of Instruction. Wow, in so much detail. It's probably for at least a month now, really in detail. Okay, devotees, so I think that's our time is up more or less. Thank you very much. Now, I'm not sure what to do. Should I just close? I can. It's no problem for me. Or are there any questions? Oh, there are. Okay, where do I find the questions, or close what? I can close talking. All right. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Oh, the questions are in Skype. Are they? Oh, where are they? Oh. Okay. Okay, on Facebook, as far as I can see, there are no questions. I don't see any. I see there are 41 devotees on Facebook, which, we usually get a lot more, but still, that's nice. Very nice. Questions. Honestly, I see not a question. Anyway, no problem. On, what is it now? On YouTube. How does it work? Well, I don't see anything. And what on earth is this? On my poor TV. Well, what now? Oh, I don't know. I don't see any questions, which is fine. And on actual Skype, if there's no questions, yeah, I don't see any questions. Hare Krishna. Okay, so I'll close here. Thank you all very much indeed. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Is that okay if I close now? I guess it will have to be. All right, thank you. Haribol. Haribol.
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitya Gauranga, 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 Nitya Gauranga. Jai Sachinandana, 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 Jai Sachinandana. Gora, 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 Hare. Gora, 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 Hare. Nitya Gauranga, Nitya Gauranga. Nitya Gauranga, Nitya Gauranga. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Haribo, Haribo. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hariba, 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 Hariba. Nitya Hariba, 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 Hariba. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jai Vishnupad, Paramahani, Palavraj, Charyas, Tadasas Ishmad, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki. Iskcon's founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki, Anant Gauri Vaishnav Vrinda Ki, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki, Prem Se Gaur Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shri Vasudhi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki, Shri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Sham Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki, Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki, Shri Mayapur Dham Ki, Shri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki, Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Devi Ki, Shri Natai Gaura Sundar Ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Sri Harinam Sankirtan ki, Transcendental Book Distribution ki, Tulsi Devi ki, Bhakti Devi ki, Yamuna Mai ki, Ganga Mai ki, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki, Go Premanande. All glories to the Assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare Gopi Jana Balava Giri Paradhare Gopi Jana Balava Giri Paradhare Yashodanandana Vrajadana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajadana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachare Yamuna Tira Vanachare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare Gopi Jana Balava Giri Paradhare Gopi Jana Balava Giri Paradhare Yashodanandana Vrajadana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamuna Tiravanachare Yamuna Tiravanachare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. James the Bad Paramahans, Perivrajik Charis, Stanislas Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki, Iskcon's founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki, Grantha Raj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki, Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Devi Ki, Shishinatai Gaura Sundar Ki, Sankirtan Yajna Ki, Go Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. How nice to be here with all you nice devotees, and I hope everything is nice. Hope you're all doing well. Would there be any possibility of reading from the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam? Or would that be a bit of a push? Okay. Part 2, the one with chapter 20. 11th canto, chapter 20. So yes, Hare Krishna. Aapki tabiat kaisi hai? Aap samajhte hai? Samajhte hai? Sab samajhte hai? You know, I learnt, we were just in Tamil Nadu a few weeks ago, and I learnt a little Tamil. Any Tamils here? Oh, you're a Tamil. You're a Tamil. And we got another Tamil. We got a couple of Tamils. Okay. So for all you Tamils, first of all, Vanikam, but then Saukyama. Huh? Saukyama. Huh? Okay, that's true. What's the answer though? Saukem. a little culture. Saukyama, and the answer is Saukem. Hare Krishna. There you go. You just learnt a little Tamil. So devotees, we were requested to say a few words along the lines of how you can be, how a person can be, or you can be, we can be, delivered from material existence through devotional service. This is what we were asked to say something about. So we've requested an 11th canto. It'll come, I imagine, fairly soon. And secondly, or alternatively, but we could combine them, is the importance of training and education in Krishna consciousness. And that sort of, you could say, that could be it. How to advance, or how to become free from material existence through devotional service, and the importance of education and training in devotional service. That's it. That's the end of the class. Training and education. How do you become free from material existence? Through Krishna consciousness. Through training and education. What? Haribol. Anyway, I was once in well, actually we're on Navadvip Mandal Parikrama many years ago. I mean, 20 years ago. Well, it might have been more, even. And Jayadvaita Maharaj was asked to give class one morning. I say, young man, Hare Krishna. Oh, for me? Thank you. You're a good boy. Did you make this? Oh, thank you so much. Sorry to be difficult. And Jayadvaita Maharaj was asked to give class, and well, he was asked to give class actually about the chanting of the holy names. So he quoted a verse of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. What is it now? Nama vina kichu nahi ko ara choda bhuvana maje. This is now a little Bengali lesson. Nama vina, without the holy names. Nama vina kichu nahi ko ara. Basically, except for the holy names, there is just nothing. Nothing. Choda bhuvana maje. Choda, 14. That's right. There's nothing else in the 14 worlds. Nama vina kichu nahi ko ara. There's nothing. Choda bhuvana maje. And he said, that's the end of the class. That's it. It's just the holy names. Anyway, you see, our minds are prone to be a little more complicated. So just to accept that, just chant Hare Krishna. End of class. Every class. Every time. Just chant Hare Krishna. For our minds, it may be difficult to really digest that. So therefore we have all the books with so much information and all sorts of interesting things. Because well, if you study Srimad Bhagavatam, you will find that different devotees and different forms of the Lord even, they are meeting different people and preaching to them. And in many cases, so many cases, particularly Narada Muni, but others also, in many cases, Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Devi Ki Jai, Shishi Nitai Gaura Sundar Ki. In many cases, Narada Muni and other great personalities, because they're doing some problem solving. Someone's got a problem. Maharaj Prachana Barhishat, he's got a problem. Various others. Dhruva Maharaj had a problem. So many people. Prahlad Maharaj had some problems. Parental problems. Yeah. Maybe some of you have problems with your parents too. Not like he had problems though. But a lot of the time, they respond to these problems by, in one way or another, saying, chant the holy names. Or if not, perhaps specifically chant the holy names, but at least hear about Krishna, chant about Krishna. So it's all Krishna conscious sound vibration. And of course we know that in Kali Yuga the process is to chant the holy names. And even though you may do other things like we do deity worship, and if you've got second initiation, then you do a little silent meditation. When there's initiation, when there's a marriage, a wedding, and maybe one or two other types of occasions sometimes, but at least for them, those two, initiation and weddings, there's a fire sacrifice. Yes. So we do these things which in the other yugas were the prescribed activities. They were the things you were meant to do or advised to do in the other yugas. Actually, it's in the 12th canto, there's a verse. Krite yad dhyato vishnum tretayam yajato makai dwarparaya paracharya vam kalo tad harikirtanat. So in the Krita Yuga, Satya Yuga, Satya means everything is very good, very truthful, very honest, and very much in goodness. It can also be called Krita Yuga. Krita means meritorious. So, dhyato Vishnum, the process was to meditate on Vishnu. Then tretayam yajato makai, process is fire sacrifice. Then in the Dwapara Yuga, Dwaparam Paracharyavam. Paracharyavam indicates deity worship. And then Kalo in the Kali Yuga, Tad, the same, that same thing which you could achieve in the other yugas by those other activities. As we mentioned, Kalo Tad, Hari Kirtanat. You achieve it through Hari Kirtan, chanting the holy names of Krishna, or particularly chanting the holy names. However, the point is made that the other processes in the other yugas, they were recommended or stipulated not necessarily because at those times they were the most effective for God realization, but rather because in terms of the natures of the people, those were the types of activities they were more inclined towards. And just in terms of sort of psychology and all that sort of thing, people's natures, they just were more inclined towards doing those things, and therefore they were recommended. But actually, Krishna conscious sound vibration, and particularly the chanting of the holy names, was always the most effective. In Kali Yuga, it's the only thing. In Kali Yuga, you can do as much deity worship as you like without chanting the holy names, and you won't be successful. You can do fire yajnas until you're black in the face. In fact, that's what they were doing when Sutta Goswami arrived in Naimisharanya, and Shonaka Rishi was there with the sages. They were doing a fire yajna for 1,000 years to slow down the onslaught of Kali Yuga, not to stop it, because you can't really stop it, but to slow it down. And then so they'd already been doing that for a while, and Sutta Goswami came, and Shonaka Rishi, on behalf of the sages, he asked Sutta Goswami, he said, you've got to help us. We're trying to do this for the benefit of the people, so that Kali Yuga doesn't just smash everyone down and just out. So, but it doesn't seem to be working. It doesn't seem to be working. So help us. And then Shonaka Rishi sort of corrected himself and said, actually, it's not that there's no result. It's not that there's no result. There is a result, but it's not a very good result. He said, the only result we're getting is our faces are becoming blackened by the smoke. Other than that, it's not working at all. So, yes. So actually the chanting of the holy names, Krishna conscious sound vibration, and particularly, specifically the chanting of the holy names, is always, at all times, in all yugas, in all places, under all circumstances, by whoever, anyone, it is always the most effective way for making God realization. The thing is, in Kali Yuga, it's the only way. It's the only way. And other things, they do help to some degree. The deity worship, etc., what we said. They do help. It's not like they're useless or negative. They do help. But without the chanting of the holy names, their capacity to help is too limited. And therefore, even a person who in a very dedicated, sincere way, for example, worships the deity without chanting the holy names, one of two things will happen. One, if we look on the bright side, through their sincerity in doing deity worship, the Lord will inspire them or give them such association that they'll take up the chanting of the holy names. Or two, if that doesn't happen, they'll just sort of fizzle out spiritually. You know, have you ever had those firecrackers and you light it and the wick burns and suddenly nothing happens? We used to call them fizzlers when I was a child. Fizzlers. Well, your life will become a fizzler. It looks like something may happen, but then it doesn't happen. So you're worshipping the deity and, looks like it's nice in many ways. But without the chanting of the holy names, it'll just sort of fizzle. You know the story of how we got the Jagannath temple in Mayapur? Anyway, it's a long story, but the essence in this regard is that this one family, they were worshipping the Jagannath deities in the temple, in a temple in Mayapur, say, very close, just down the road. But, life, you know what life is. They were busy. Yeah. If you ask someone, what are you doing? Or can you help or something? And they say, I'm very busy. In this day and age, it's almost like saying, I'm alive. Did you get that? Because life is like that. So they were very busy. And worshipping these big deities, 3 of them. It's a big job. And they were battling. So gradually they reduced the standard. And instead of dressing and everything every day, they would do it on Ekadasis. And instead of offering bhoga 6 times a day, they reduced it eventually to 1 time a day. And instead of offering, a nice, proper offering of bhoga, food, with sabjis and, different nice things, gradually they reduced it to khichdi, once a day. And then it became too difficult, so then they would change the clothes on one of the major festival days. Like I think we have, 6 or something? Major days. Gorpanima, Ram Nomi, Balaram's appearance day, Janmastami, Srimati Radharani, Govardhan Puja, maybe, Prabhupada's appearance, disappearance. So it's not more than 10. So they would change the clothes maybe 6 times a year and offer food once a week. And then everything dropped. So they reached the point they would only change the clothes on the Rath Yatra day, because they're Jagannath deities. And that was it. And then 1 year they forgot. 1 year they forgot. And then they understood, we can't do this. So then they handed it over to Iskcon. And I remember going there just very shortly after, and there was this broken down temple. Anyway, we've gone off track. Well, we haven't really, because the point was, if you don't chant the holy names, and even if you don't chant the holy names seriously, things will go down. And you or we will go down. Okay, so devotees, let us read here. We got a couple of verses from Srimad Bhagavatam. They're very interesting. They're actually extremely interesting. And it's got a lengthy purport. Perhaps we won't read the whole thing. But it describes, this is describing, as the first sentence in the purport says, which is actually taken directly from Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's purport. The beginning stage of pure devotional service is described here by the Lord. In other words, this is Lord Krishna speaking about the beginning stages of pure devotional service. So everyone, first of all, let's just repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So this now is Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, Chapter 20, titled Pure Devotional Service. And this is verses 27 and 28. Jata Shradho Matkata Su Nirvana Sarva Karma Su Veda Dukat Makan Kaman Parityage Pyanishvara Tatoba Jeta Mam Prita Shadalo Drida Nishchaya Jushamanas Chatan Kaman Duko Darkams Chagarhayan. Translation: having awakened faith in the narrations of my glories, this is Lord Krishna speaking, being disgusted with all material activities, knowing that all sense gratification leads to misery, but still being unable to renounce all sense enjoyment, my devotee should remain happy and worship me with great faith and conviction. Even though he is sometimes engaged in sense enjoyment, my devotee knows that all sense gratification leads to a miserable result, and he sincerely repents such activities. How does that sound? This is sort of aimed at, well, it's aimed at all of us, of course, but in a sense it's aimed at those amongst us who, when nobody is watching, may watch the latest Bollywood movie. We laugh. Well, I can tell you frankly, I never watch Bollywood. Absolutely. But some of us here might occasionally sort of drop in and watch. I remember one of my disciples, actually, good person, was first initiated, wanted second initiation, basically, anyway, wanted. And he was going through the initiation committee. They're specially designed by the management to put you through the ringer. Do you understand that? Squeeze out whatever they can squeeze out. So, okay, he'd been there, for a year or two, and he wanted second initiation. So he was interviewed. There was like a process of interviewing And on this third or fourth interview, so he asked, okay, can you please give me a recommendation? And they said no. And he asked, why? And they said, because you went to the Bollywood show. There was some live Bollywood show, I don't know, some years ago. Who was there? He doesn't know. I'm just checking. No, I'm just joking, actually. But it was some of these, whoever they are, people. So, you were at that Bollywood show. And he asked, how did you know that? And the member of the committee said, because I saw you there. I'm serious. I'm completely serious. So like I said, there's a lengthy purport here. I'll read part of it. So now, of course, this is not Srila Prabhupada. This is our BBT team. But the purport, particularly the first paragraph which we're going to read, which is quite lengthy, it's not exactly verbatim, but it's very much based on the purport of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur to these two verses. So, the beginning stage of pure devotional service is described here by the Lord. A sincere devotee has practically seen that all material activities lead only to sense gratification, and all sense gratification leads only to misery. Thus, a devotee's sincere desire is to engage 24 hours a day in the loving service of Lord Krishna without any personal motivation. The devotee sincerely desires to be established in his constitutional position as the Lord's eternal servitor, and he prays to the Lord to elevate him to this exalted position. The word anishvara indicates that because of one's past sinful activities and bad habits, one may not immediately be able to completely extinguish the enjoying spirit. The Lord here encourages such a devotee not to be overly depressed or morose, but to remain enthusiastic and to go on with his loving service. In other words, even though the enjoying spirit may sort of haunt one, kind of hang around in the back of your mind and every now and then try to pounce on you. So, but we shouldn't necessarily be overly depressed or morose, but push on, enthusiastic. The word nirvana indicates that a sincere devotee, although somewhat entangled in the remnants of sense gratification, is completely disgusted with material life, and under no circumstances willingly commits sinful activities. In fact, he avoids every kind of materialistic activity. The word kaman basically refers to sex attraction and its byproducts in the form of children, home, and so forth. Within the material world, the sex impulse is so strong that even a sincere candidate in the loving service of the Lord may sometimes be disturbed by sex attraction or by lingering sentiments for wife and children. A pure devotee certainly feels spiritual affection for all living entities, including the so-called wife and children. But he knows that material bodily attraction leads to no good, for it simply entangles one and one's so-called relatives in a miserable chain reaction of fruitive activities. The word dridha nishchaya, steadfast conviction, indicates that in any circumstance, a devotee is completely determined to go on with his prescribed duties for Krishna. Thus he thinks, by my previous shameful life, my heart is polluted with many illusory attachments. Personally, I have no power to stop them. Only Lord Krishna within my heart can remove such inauspicious contamination. But whether the Lord removes such attachments immediately or lets me go on being afflicted by them, I will never give up my devotional service to him. Even if the Lord places millions of obstacles in my path, and even if because of my offenses I go to hell, I will never for a moment stop serving Lord Krishna. I am not interested in mental speculation and fruitive activities. Even if Lord Brahma personally comes before me offering such engagements, I will not be even slightly interested. See, this is the devotee thinking. This is why he's saying I this and I that. Even although I am attached to material things, I can see very clearly that they lead to no good, because they simply give me trouble and disturb my devotional service to the Lord. Therefore, I sincerely repent my foolish attachments to so many material things, and I'm patiently awaiting Lord Krishna's mercy. Hare Krishna. So let's say a few words about that. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschitya Dejatarane Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha. Patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna. So, yeah, I find these two verses, very interesting. And actually over the last maybe year even, at least sometime, I've read them in classes on a number of occasions. Would you believe I last read them on Friday? I last read them on Friday in Russia, in Russian, would you believe? And then I gave class on them in Russian. Haribol. That's a challenge. That's a challenge. Sure. Anyway, but it's just because I find them very interesting. And a number of devotees have told me afterwards, after the class, that they sort of, you could say, they saw themselves in the verses, yeah, and the purport. They kind of saw themselves that they're not just, well, sometimes, many years ago we used to use the term part-time devotee. If you're a part-time devotee, I think that means you're a part-time non-devotee also. The other part of the time. I mean, it must be, if you're only part-time devotee. I hope you're not a part-time demon. But if you're a part-time devotee, then you're definitely a part-time non-devotee by definition. So, for someone like I've mentioned before, I think, there are different levels of devotees. And back when I was a new boy in London, in my early 20s, when I was a new boy, we had different gradations of devotees in terms of how much they'd participate in the program. And in those days, devotee meant someone who lives in the temple. If someone didn't live in the temple, they're sort of off the scale, and we wouldn't really bother worrying about them. But there were those people, there were those devotees who attend morning and evening program. We had full morning and full evening program. Then there were devotees who'd come sometimes to morning and evening program. Then there were those who wouldn't come very much, but they'd come to the Sunday program. And then there were those who'd only come to the Sunday program. And then there were those who'd only come for prasadam on the Sunday program. But some of those, they would come at the end of the arti, because the prasadam was immediately after the arti. So those who would come right at the end, when they're fanning the deity, we used to call them Krishna's fan club. So, referring to this though, these verses in the purport, we're not referring to that sort of person. We're referring to a person who really feels a commitment that not, here's an interesting perspective, not that I am Mr. or Mrs. or Ms. such and such from somewhere, and I'm a whatever your work is, I'm a doctor, I'm a manager, I'm a secretary, I'm a salesperson, and I have my family, and I go to the Hare Krishna temple. But rather the perspective is, I am a devotee, but I have a family, and therefore I must work, and so I do this and that. But I'm a devotee. That's who I am. And then the other things, they're like secondary. Not that being a devotee or being involved in Krishna consciousness is just sort of one of the many things I do. You know, on Saturday I play golf, and on Friday I do this, and on Thursday I do that, and the other days I do different things, and on Sunday I go to the Hare Krishna temple, and you know what I mean? Yeah. So here we're talking about people who are really committed in their hearts, and they are devotees first and foremost. That's who they are, that's what they are. But because of life being life, you know, they may have ended up in some situation which is kind of inescapable. Even Srila Prabhupada, when he first met Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, he was already married with a couple of children, 2 or 3 or something children. And so he was not able to get into it as much as he wanted for quite a number of years. For quite a number, like 30 years or something. So, you know, life being what it is, some of us sitting here right now, we've already ended up in some situation in life which is more or less inescapable. More or less, not absolutely, but, you know, to a pretty large degree, unless you do something pretty dramatic. So, but even such a person, if at heart, at first, they see, who am I? What am I? I'm a devotee. And the other things, you know, to maintain the family and my life, well, you know, I work as a this or as a that. Not like, I am a doctor, but I'm also a devotee. But rather, I'm a devotee, and I'm also a doctor. Something like that. So this applies to such a person who feels that real commitment at heart. This is my life, this is what I am, and this is what I'm really trying to do. And the other things, well, either mainly their responsibilities due to circumstances in my life. So like I said, a number of devotees have come and told me that they've seen themselves in these verses and this purport, that they feel that commitment and they want to, but, and then fill in the blank, ... my situation. Yeah. So the thing is this, that what to speak of having responsibilities, that's one thing. Having more or less inescapable responsibilities. But sometimes it may happen that due to previous habits and just deeply ingrained tendencies, that even such a devotee, Lord Krishna is saying here, may actually do something which is not constructive for Krishna consciousness. You know, he's not including eating some meat sometimes, going to the KFC when no one's watching, in disguise, you know, with long hair, a big nose, sort of disguise kit. Now, it doesn't mean sometimes eating meat or doing those other things, but it means something like watching Bollywood or going to some other type of event which is not Krishna conscious, and you're there. You know, I used to go and visit my parents. Here I am, here's a confession. I visited my parents in New Zealand from South Africa. In New Zealand every year for 23 years till they died. Good night, parents. Bad Malenge. So I did that. And I'd go there and, you know, I'd be there with them for a few days a year, maybe 4 or 5 days. And I had my own room, and I would just go in and, you know, with my computer, my life. Anyway, with my computer, write emails and do different things and so on and so forth. And come out. I made a point of coming out and sitting with them like every hour or couple of hours and just, you know, as Bimal Prasad used to say, shooting the breeze. Just chatting about how's this one, how's that one, and what's going on. And when I would do that, I'd be sitting there thinking, gosh, what a waste of time this is. Wow. But then, then I'd zip back off. And I was really up to date with my emails. Now, today, I'm 50 emails behind. Hare Krishna. So a devotee may get caught up somehow or other in something which, you know, it may not be like outright just sinful activity, but it's kind of something on the useless side, like watching Bollywood. The last Bollywood movie that I didn't watch, but I saw a few bits and pieces, I was on an Air Mauritius flight, I don't know, 20 years ago probably, and where that you don't have your own screen, but they have the one big screen. So, if you look up, you can't avoid it. And it was an Amitabh Bachchan movie. Believe it or not, I have heard of Amitabh Bachchan. And his son Abhishek. And this movie, I put the headphones on a few times just to find out what is going on here. And it was just so crazy. It was Amitabh Bachchan and this one girl. He at that point, he must be close to death now. But 20 years ago, he's very advanced middle age. And he fell in love with this one girl who was kind of 20s, that phase of life, different phases of life. And you know what that girl's name was, according to the movie? Maybe it was probably just her calling name. Fasten your seatbelts, please. Are you ready? Brace yourselves. Are you ready to hear what her name was? It's X-rated. It's really bad, actually. Her name was Sexy. Oh my God. Really? And it was at that point I decided, never again for Bollywood. Absolutely. Please. If I ever look like I'm going to press the button to watch a Bollywood movie, pull my hand away, do something. So there's a saying, an old English saying, old habits die hard. Old habits die hard. And there's a sort of a variation, old soldiers die hard. There was, and it's kind of illustrative to some degree, Srila Prabhupada was watching a movie. He wasn't watching a movie. He was sitting in the front row in an aeroplane, and there was the screen, literally a few feet away from his face. And it was a David Niven World War II movie. If you never heard of David Niven, congratulations. So it's a World War II movie. And David Niven is the hero with his gun. And he's running up the hill to attack the enemy who are on top of the hill. And suddenly, he gets shot. And down he goes. But then he gets up and he's off again, up the hill. And then, he gets shot again. And down he goes. And Prabhupada's sitting looking at this. And Prabhupada's looking at this. And suddenly Prabhupada just dozed off. And he woke up maybe 30 seconds later, and there was David Niven running up the hill. And then he got shot again for about the 20th time in the last 10 minutes. And Prabhupada looked at it, and he turned to his servant and said, "Not dead yet?" Prabhupada had such a way of just capturing things sometimes, generally. So old habits die hard. Old habits die hard. It's mentioned in the purport here. Old habits die hard. And they're very persistent. Why are they persistent? Because Maya is persistent. Maya is a pure devotee, and we are not. We're trying to become. But Maya is a pure devotee, and her main duty is to push us. Are you interested in this? Are you interested in that? presenting opportunities for material life. That's her expertise. Not because she wants us to fall down. She wants us to come to a transcendental level. But part of the way that is required for doing that is being exposed from time to time to things which, because of your previous upbringing and conditioning, you might find attractive. And she presents, hey, what about this? Are you interested? And because old habits die hard, it may take some time to really come to the point where you're sort of impervious and you're really not interested. Yeah, where you're just really not interested and there's just no interest and you just, there's no point at all in being exposed to it. So, but certain things, generally people have their little pet attachments, or if not pet attachments, but just certain things they're attached to. I don't know if it applies to any of you. Do any of you have any things you're attached to? No. Oh, it's only me. Oh. You don't have anything you're attached to. Have you heard of golf? Anyway, it's for the exercise. That's what it's for. We all need exercise, that's right. Yes. So what to do? What to do? Well, the process of devotional service is there. That's what's to do. That even though these attachments are still there to one degree or another, and on some days they're more prominent than other days, or at some points in some days they're more prominent than at other points. But the thing is, we have to continue on in Krishna consciousness. And if we continue on nicely as we can, and if we really try to chant as attentively as possible and associate with the devotees as much as possible and render service from the heart as much as possible, well, even if it's not from the heart, at least do it. Yeah. Then gradually these old habits, they start dying. These old habits start dying. They start sort of dissolving away. Like one devotee once said that, well, he was asked, a non-devotee asked him, how did you give up meat? And the devotee thought momentarily and said, well, I didn't exactly give up meat, but meat gave up me. And this non-devotee friend was a little bewildered. But the devotee explained that just after a while, one day he just found he just wasn't interested. Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Devi Shri Shri Nitai Gaura Sundar Ki Jai. Just one day he wasn't interested. So if we persevere in our devotional service, and as much as possible we optimize our devotional, our life in Krishna consciousness, optimize it by chanting as attentively as possible at the right times. Like I always advise devotees often, if you want to advance, get up early and chant. And if you want to go backwards in Krishna consciousness, make a point of not getting up early. get up late, don't chant nicely if you want to go backwards. And I tell them, it always works. It works. If you want to advance, get up early and chant nicely, as attentively as possible. And if you want to go backwards, don't. And whichever you want, if you do like that, you'll be successful. So we should optimize, sort of strategize our Krishna consciousness to optimize it by getting up early, chanting nicely early, and chanting actually nicely, as attentively as possible in a sacred space, as much as possible with good association, and then associate as much as possible with the devotees, get some regular service, and be busily engaged as much as reasonably possible. And all these things, strategize, maximize our engagement in Krishna consciousness, and then be a little tolerant and perseverant, because old habits die hard. And if sometimes some thought of our previous material life bugs us, then, as the purport said, I don't know if I can find it, the Lord here encourages. Well, the word anishvara indicates that because of one's past sinful activities and bad habits, one may not immediately be able to completely extinguish the enjoying spirit. The Lord here encourages such a devotee not to be overly depressed or morose, but to remain enthusiastic and to go on with his loving service. Yeah. So, you know what? Tomorrow night is New Year's Eve. Hari Bol. Are you coming? Hari Bol. Well, I'll be here. A one-man Harinam. Anyway, no, let's go out. Let's have a nice evening program tomorrow, and go out, have a nice Harinam, really get into it, and then really try and make some resolve for 2019. You know, I'm really going to try and adopt a strategy, a proactive strategy for optimizing my life in Krishna consciousness, for really making some progress. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki. Srila Prabhupada ki. Srila Prabhupada ki. Go Premanande. Haribol. More Premanande. Okay. That's it. Oh, Gaya. Oh. Thank you. Yes.
His Holiness Bhakti Chaitanya Swami Maharaj ki. Srila Prabhupada ki. As I was listening to Maharaj speak, I was just thinking, you know, we generally say that the father of the nation for South Africa was Madiba, but for us devotees, I think the father for the devotees would be His Holiness Bhakti Chaitanya Swami Maharaj. And Maharaj promised something this year, that he would spend more time in 2019 in South Africa, and we hope and pray that he does, and so that we can get more of his association as well, actually. Just a few announcements. Tomorrow's program would start in the evening at around 6 o'clock, so Prasadam will be served early. Try and come on time. We want to do a Pushpa Abhishek for Srila Prabhupada tomorrow because it's his anniversary installation on the 31st December. We'll do a Pushpa Abhishek for Jagannath Baladev and Subhadra and Shushanita Gaurasundur on the 1st. The program on the 1st would start at 11 a.m. in the morning, and it'll go on. So there'll be a class and then the RT, and after RT we'll have the Pushpa Abhishek. So it's Ekadasi also, so it's a nice auspicious occasion to chant and dance actually, and probably feast later. Tomorrow's Harinam, we're hoping and praying that Maharaj, the weather will hold for us, so like it does every year. And hopefully we will have a nice, wonderful kirtan actually. Hare Krishna. So, Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu, would you lead kirtan? Please. Oh, Veerabhadra Prabhu. We have artis and we have kirtan for a little while, and then after that prasadam is being served downstairs in the hall actually. Hare Krishna.
Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Everybody, clap your hands. Louder. Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, everybody. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Everybody. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Everybody, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Everybody, chant the holy. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Everybody, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Lola, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Everybody, Krishna Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hey, everybody.
Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare.
Haribol, come forward. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare. Krishna Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada. Jai Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya, Jaya 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 Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Premanande, Srila Prabhupada Ki. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa, Parivrajikacharya Stotra Sat, Shri Srimad His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Iskcon founder, BBG founder, Srila Prabhupada Ki. Savior of the whole world, Srila Prabhupada Ki. Nitai Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga.